Hey everybody, this is Earl Harville of Earl Harville Vox Studio. And in today's video, I'm going to address vocal hygiene, the daily upkeep, the daily maintenance, the daily care of our voice. That if done correctly will keep our voice in really good shape for years and years and years and years. We as vocalists do not have the luxury of putting our instrument away in a case and tucking it away while we go on about the rest of the business of our day until it's time to make music with it again. Our instrument stays with us 24/7. And so we have to be very mindful of what environment we put ourselves in and what we eat and what we drink and how we take care of our bodies so that we can keep our voice in the best shape possible for the long term. I'm going to start with hydration. We all know that drinking water is super important because our body is mostly made of water. The unfortunate thing is that the vocal folds are on the bottom of the totem pole in terms of the body's importance in keeping hydrated. Our brain and our heart and our lungs and our digestive tract are near the top of the list. So they're going to have the priority. So we have to make sure that there's enough moisture in our body so that there's enough to get to the vocal folds to keep them hydrated. Remember that when we drink water, the water that we drink does not directly touch the vocal folds. If they do, then we're going to cough, which we don't want. So we have to keep enough water going all day long. It is important that you drink. Now it's being said we should drink about half of our body weight in ounces of water a day. So let's say you weigh 160 pounds. That means that throughout the day you should be drinking about 80 ounces of water to make sure that all of your body's systems are taken care of and that we're still going to have enough to take care of our precious little vocal folds. It's also good to make sure you are eating things that are rich in water, like certain vegetables, fruit like strawberries and watermelon, because they're so heavy in water. That helps toward keeping your body's hydration level up. It is also good at night, especially if the sleeping area that you are in is very dry, to run a humidifier. That way you've got moisture coming into your sleeping environment all night long to help keep that keep the vocal folds lubricated and moisturized during the night. That's also true for your work environment. If you work in a very dry environment, such as a classroom, keep a humidifier in your work area so that you've got that moisture going all the time. Sleep, super important. We should aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Now, I'm one of those people who this is an area that even I have to work at because I don't always sleep as much as I should. But it is important because our body recovers when we sleep, and our vocal folds are no different. It is during the time that we sleep that the vocal folds, the tissues get a chance to recuperate from all of that vibration and all of that friction during the day. So make sure that you're getting that 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night so that you can keep your voice really running in really good shape. When it comes to food, you want to make sure that you know your body well and what your body reacts to. A lot of people, probably the majority of singers I've worked with, don't do well with dairy products in terms of how it tends to produce excess mucus. And all that extra phlegm can be very troublesome because it can kind of sit on your vocal folds and kind of get in the way. So if you know that you're a person who is a little sensitive to dairy, as singers, we've got to be mindful of that and not do dairy very much when we're going to be in the heavy times of voice usage. You're on tour, if you're recording, if you're in rehearsals for a show, you want to keep those to a minimum. Be careful of spicy food. Some people can't deal with spicy food much if they're going to be using their voice a lot. It is important that you find out whether or not you have reflux. And not everyone has GERD, which is the kind of reflux where there's burning in the esophagus from the stomach acid coming back up. There are a lot of us, myself included, who have laryngeal reflux. Well, we don't feel the heartburn, but there is acid that's working its way back toward the larynx and is irritating the vocal folds. So it's important to know whether this is a reality for you, because that again will influence what kind of foods you have to steer clear from. With reflux, you may have to steer clear of foods that are tomato based. You may have to steer clear of peppermint, because those things tend to aggravate the situation. So if you got any doubts about whether or not you may have reflux, talk to your doctor, get scoped, and then they can kind of direct you on that kind of thing. Talking, huge deal. The way that we speak can play a huge part in the health of our voice or lack thereof. A lot of people, when they talk, don't really breathe. They hold their breath. They talk too low in their range, or they squeeze when they speak. So you need to be very mindful that the same vocal technique that we talk about as vocalists, as singers, needs to apply to our speaking voice. We need to let our speaking voice be rather melodic. Let your voice go up and down, so that the vocal folds aren't constantly hitting each other in the same spot over and over again, bringing on fatigue and possibly some vocal harm. And then, of course, there's daily vocal exercise, daily vocal warm-up. In order to keep your vocal folds and your whole vocal instrument in tip-top shape, you need to make sure that you're vocalizing every day. Even if it's a day where you're not going to be doing a lot of singing, it's still good to do some little vocal warm-up just to keep those tissues pliable and to keep them flexible, and to make sure that there's always this balance of what's happening with the vocal folds and what's happening with your air, and keeping your body, as a well-oiled instrument. At the very least, do some stretches, do some glissandos, some slides every day. Ooh, yee. You can do them on lip trills or tongue trills, or the NG, anything, or hum, anything that's going to keep those vocal folds flexible and keep you working on balancing your airflow with the amount of muscular resistance at the vocal folds. Hugely important. These are just some basic tips to keep your voice well cared for and pampered on a daily basis, because you want to be able to use this vocal instrument for years and years and years and years. So you have to be mindful of how you treat it on a daily basis. If you're looking for top-notch vocal training, you can contact me here at Earl Harville Vox. You can call me and leave a voicemail message at 562-387-8025, or you can email me at earl@earlharvillevox.com. And we can set up a 15-minute free consultation, either on the phone or via Skype, Google Hangout, or a FaceTime, so that we can kind of figure out what your vocal issues are, what your vocal strengths are, what your vocal weaknesses are, and what your goals are, so we can put together a plan to help you get there. All right? I'm looking forward to hear from you. I want to help you get that voice that you've always been dreaming of. Keep singing. Peace.